Very warm welcome to all of you leaders. Can you please take a seat, sir? Thank you. So since yesterday, what we have observed from an AI standpoint, which is also the theme of the conference, while there is a desire, we also saw some survey highlights where most of you have agreed that it's critical to have AI across systems to improve functionalities, yet only 15% of the CIOs and enterprises were strategically ready to scale AI. The question is how to simplify AI, architecting the foundation of your AI core. That would, of course, assist you to take your AI initiatives to the new highlight. In today's discussion, we'll talk about compute elasticity, intelligent storage, scalable networks, and just as importantly, a unified control plane, governance, observability, and cost management as AI workloads growing in leaps and bounds. Of course, this is not just about what, as technology leaders, you build. It's also about how you simplify, scale, and govern it. Today's discussion bring together some accomplished leaders from the fraternity across the enterprise and solution ecosystems. Leaders who are not just experimenting, but actively building, running, and of course scaling AI at the core. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, very warm welcome to all of you, sir. Sandeep ji, I would just probably would like your opening remarks. In terms of the foundational changes that industry today requires to support enterprise scale AI workloads, especially around compute, storage, and network readiness. And how are you moving toward a unified control plane for infra management? Maybe, sir, if you can share your thoughts.
Good morning, all of you. Thank you for calling this distinguished panel. To me, in case of infrastructure, we should not reinvent the wheel, actually. In the market, there are few established hyperscaler players like Google, Amazon, AWS, okay, and CFI also there. They are actually hyperscaler. To invest any IT infrastructure, you can evaluate the vendors based on the organizational priority, ethics and governance. But as a checklist, what are the key, the parameter we should check before or computing all this network storage and the speed and performance of this IT infrastructure. First, are they giving any AI capabilities? And how many the AI tools and techniques they are providing? Or rather you can say, are they providing the AI as a service? Okay, AI as a service. And also the second one, the security, the governance. Are they providing this infrastructure as a tools, not as a software, in build as a IT infrastructure? And also we should check our existing IT infrastructure, are they enabled to integrate the seamless integration between your IT infrastructure as well as whatever you are going to procure these things. Also, we should, the main thing, there are a lot of the hidden cost in the cloud infrastructure. If you see, the ROI based or ultimately the TCO you should have take on this call before investing this kind of the cloud infrastructure.
No, absolutely. You rightly pointed out ROI and, of course, the criticality of managing, enterprise-wide things. I would just like to understand more from you, sir, on the same question in terms of the foundational changes that CIOs, and specifically if you would like to share some use case, have you made to support enterprise-scale AI workloads? And how critical is something moving toward something like unified control plane and, of course, for a better visibility for infra management?
Thank you. So I think Sandeep has rightly mentioned. So I'll just extend to that some of the things that he mentioned about it. So I think when you talk about AI, it is as compared to a normal workload, it requires a high computing power, which requires high energy consumption and other things. Now, that results into some kind of cost becomes extremely important to you. So you have to have an ROI. In ROI, the cost becomes extremely important in terms of it. So what we have done, so we being a large conglomerate with the interest in multiple industries. So what we are doing is that for example, we are one of the first company, I mean a private university in India which bought a DGX NVIDIA server. So we are using that server for the purpose of, for our research scholars, we are using NVIDIA server for training the various model. We did POCs also for one of the government department we wanted to deploy because being education institute, our costs are much lower as compared to if we call some big fours for the same POC and the deployment in the government department. So, I mean, to put some numbers in percentages, we were at 1/10 of the cost that some of the large enterprises has quoted to the government for the same set of model deployment. So that is one thing which we were able to do using using this DGX server. Now, what we are also doing is that we are using multiple hyperscalers. I mean, multiple hyperscalers for our different needs of compute, storage, and networking. So for storage perspective, we are using NVMe and SSD-based hard disk so that we have low latency from that perspective. Now, for a rapid deployment, I mean, the NVIDIA ecosystem is the most evolved and most stable, mature system. So we're using CUDA system with in terms of security feature enabled. So that because data becomes extremely critical. So how do I encrypt data? How do I anonymize data? So all that thing which we are using so as to ensure that we have a robust compute energy and the storage thing for the purpose of.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much. Mahesh, I would just like to understand from you, how are you embedding AI into your workflows, business workflows, whether it's predictive analytics, fraud detection, process automation, or customer experience, especially from a BFSI specific examples, if you could share your thoughts.
So it's a very interesting question. Actually, since over yesterday, was catching up with multiple friends here, and then one of the common topic of discussion was, oh, we know this guy, and then he talks a lot in all meetings, and then all the half-an-hour meetings go over 3 hours if this guy is around. And the most effective takeaway is actually prepared by Copilot. So I think most of us have started already using Copilots. Everybody's almost married to Teams here and Microsoft Teams. And those are the subtle nuances which have started changing the behavior in which we approach AI. And these are simple steps, but that starts building the appetite. And that basically tells you, or rather, enforces you to consider scenarios where that changed appetite can bring in change. And then which are the areas that you can actually introduce. When we speak AI, the expectation is something, oh, is it going to be like a matrix revolution? No, not really. These are simple steps we take. And there are these areas, like, for example, most of the AI work happening today is not some ultrasound or supersonic, but it is more about the agent AIs being introduced. And in order to basically enhance the efficiency, bring in more productivity and stuff like that. And identifying those areas or those pockets in your workforce or the work streams and introducing some of these as small steps to begin with, measure the outcome, and hence plan the next steps becomes easy. And that also basically gives you enough and plenty of choices in terms of selecting the tech stack, as well as how would you want to scale up if this is to go forward, yielding positive results. I think that's about it.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. But I would also like to understand probably, are there any specific platform level tools or architectural choices that you have made to, achieve this seamlessly in your organization?
Sure. So I think, again, for, one of the example would be, the choices are plenty. But then, for example, if you are building something a large scale, say, for example, with Salesforce, that itself gives a capability on having the agent AI. So it never should be force-fit. It should be local to your environment. It should be, the choices should be not like that for the force fitting your work stream or the AI agents, you have to go out and select some different tech stacks. But then if I'm doing an implementation of Salesforce itself gives enough and plenty choices on what I could achieve using their agent AI framework. So I think the approach is pretty simple that way.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Anand, probably would like to hear from you on the same question.
Yeah, so basically, we started with our AI journey, and I probably will divide that into four steps. And at each of these steps, there has to be a preparatory work. The starting with is the creation of a data in itself. So in a BFSI space, a typical customer will have a demographic, transactional, and behavioral data. Now we already have a demographic and transactional data sorted out, but for behavioral data, there has to be the implementation of multiple technologies and systematic process to collect the data, let's say journey tracking, building the event streams. So we have invested heavily on that. Then comes the infrastructure part where we have tried to, and we are investing heavily in one, we have built a huge data lake, and that becomes a prerequisite in order to scale any of the AI. Then comes the actual infrastructure part, where procuring of the hybrid infrastructure in terms of having a GPUs as well as using it as a SaaS service. And lastly, as you rightly said, this will be as good as how good your consumption and feedback loop is. You don't have a good CRM in a place. We are almost creating probably 200 to 300,000 opportunities a month for our sales. But I don't have a CRM. If you don't have a CRM to consume that in a systematic way and having a feedback loop, it's not going to be useful. So you have to invest at all the four places. But this is again the beginning. I think if when it comes to the scale, when the heavy processing use cases will come, organization will have to probably then invest on not the GPUs but on the TPUs. You'll have to invest on the low latency fabric network. You'll have to invest probably in the RDMA where GPUs can talk with the GPUs. So those are probably the future challenges coming in when it all started to go into production and the low latency.
All right, I'll moderate from here only. See, back-to-back sessions at times because it's a three-day conference. Sometimes there are small hiccups here and there. So my apologies. Yeah. So I'll moderate from here. So these are some interesting insights that you have shared. Saurabh ji, you are a specialized B2B chemicals industry. Maybe if you could share some of the thoughts that how to simplify the AI architecture. And we have had conversations in your office as well. Maybe if you can just share some thoughts around that.
Hello. See, friends, there are three things for any technology intervention, and that what I feel is fully applicable for AI. One is people, process, and technology. Okay. In AI, another layer that comes at top of it is data, right? So we have to map the data with reference to people, process, and technology. And when I say data, it can be a structured data, unstructured data, and a single source of truth. Okay. In our case, same thing was there. Okay, when we started the digital transformation journey, what we realized that okay, first we need to fix the core. Okay, core in the terms of people, process, and technology, and we worked on all three areas. Okay. Coming to technology, okay, we realized that okay, the infrastructure, the IT infrastructure was not scalable enough to adopt the AI or the future needs of the business. To make the business future ready, we decided, we made a roadmap to invest into the infrastructure, not only on the plant and the network side, but also on the DCS side, on the OT side, as well as adopted the cloud infrastructure. We signed deals with Cisco, we signed deals with AWS. Okay. Coming to process side, we realized that okay, we need to have a seamless process, okay, so that there are no gaps, and that feeds the data for the AI. So we went with Salesforce we re-implemented SAP. Just now we went live with SAP on RISE. We did a greenfield implementation. We put up systems where we were not having systems for interfacing with, say, vendors, a vendor portal, for master data management. And now coming to the third side is people, right? So a lot of change management exercise was done with the help of HR team, and in our case, the HR team helped us a lot, okay, in order to drive the change management across the organization. So not only at the board level or the management team level, but also at the ground level, okay. So we did a lot of work with them. We implemented RPA, okay, so that people start learning and seeing the value of automation, okay. So that was a stepping stone for the artificial intelligence models. And now we are doing certain level of what we say a POC or those things, okay, in order to achieve and move forward. So that was my experience.
Thank you very much, sir. Next question I would like to understand from Atish. Atish, we have witnessed how the workloads from AI and Gen AI can be extensively heavy on resources from a computational power standpoint and analyzing them. So how critical for you is the processing capability and a unified view, and specifically, would you also like to highlight some use case around that?
Hi, good morning, everyone. So, unified view and having a hybrid approach is very important. Few years back, every one of us started with the cloud journey, where we started with one CSP, and I'm very sure that almost 80 to 90% folks today are moving to hybrid clouds. And the reason is very simple. You get the flexibility, you have a cost optimization option, better security you can have around all the clouds, plus on-prem, and governance as well. Of course, the governance is not easy because multi-cloud, but then cost optimization and overall, you can have a common framework in terms of observability and all. So this is something we did on the cloud. Now coming to the AI, of course, it's very early stages, but in AI as well, you need to be very cost sensitive, because only one CSP or one particular type of model may not be the right choice. So I feel having a hybrid approach there as well is very important. Maybe at initial stage, we can have a API-based kind of approach where we can have a token-based approach to just experiment and see how the things are, how the business reacts, are we getting the right accuracies. And once we have that stage where multiple programs can be kicked off in terms of production, that is when we have to go for something where you have to host your own models. Now, when it comes to hosting, obviously, compute power is most important, especially the TPS, or I would say the token utilization and throttling that happens. So I feel now we have a lot of options that are there. We can have some players where we get GPU as a service. So obviously there we can have a good optimization. So this is from a compute perspective. And now when we come to the actual single pane of glass which we spoke about, or maybe at that end from the AI. So when you deliver the program, I feel don't get to one platform like, just an example, nothing bad about it. They are very good platforms like a Vertex or a Bedrock. I feel we should have a platform approach where, if possible, we should build our own platform. Not models, I'm saying. Of course, it's not that easy, especially multimodal. Billions and millions and billions of investment is required. But at least from a platform perspective, you can have a common platform catering different models across the industry. It may be DeepSeek, Meta, Gemini, OpenAI. At the same time, think about a framework. Today, we have very good frameworks around. So have a common framework like a LangChain. Go for a Google ADK for an agent kind of approach. I feel that thought process is very important, so that you can have a common place or a common workflow that you can define, and easy connectors available for your all services. So that is very important. This will also bring in more cost optimization. There is one more concept for coming up, which is agent mesh. So now with the agentic approach, like some of the folks said that we will do on ServiceNow, somebody said on Salesforce. So obviously now with MCPs and agents coming in, I feel agent mesh is something, a new concept coming in. So I feel we should, as a common place, we should adopt that as well, because it will give you a better security and governance control and agent discovery. Having a common prompt hub, having a common AI discovery places, AI registries, having AI ops, or earlier we had ML ops, so having a AI ops pipelines. I feel these are some things which have to be adopted day one. If you have to be, you need to have a single pane, and across all CSPs and data center, you have to run the workload.
Thank you so much, Atish. Of course, you talked about scale and how to simplify it. We'll come back to the hard part, which is governance, quickly to everyone. But before that, I would just like to hear from Pramod. Pramod, you have heard them well. You know what the kind of challenges that they are facing and how critical is something like unified view. What, in your observation, based on your discussion with the technology leaders, and of course, based on the discussion so far we have had, what do you feel about it? I mean, how to scale it effectively and simplify the overall architecture, and how would you respond to the challenges that CIOs have discussed?
Yeah. So I think over the last couple of days we've had many discussions with organizations, and they're all at different levels of adoption when it comes to AI. Right? Some are still doing pilots, some are into production, and some have started seeing ROI on those use cases. But while this phase will go on, when we actually scale AI, I think we'll have to look at the whole ecosystem holistically. So when it comes to, let's say, a data center provider, a colo provider, when it comes to cloud, and then network and storage, what we have seen organizations, adopt is standardization, right? So there are certain industries where a lot of processing has to happen on-prem, right? You'll need GPU on-prem, and then there are model training, there is inferencing happening on-prem, and then there is the edge, right? Then there is a edge where you offload some of the inferencing to an edge for low latency use cases. Then there is cloud. Not only cloud, there is multi-cloud, right? And then there is your own, let's say, a colo hosted infrastructure, right? And all of this has to be connected, right? And then how do you plan? How do you govern all of this? How do you get a unified view? So I think that we've seen organizations face some challenges around these areas, right? How do you optimize the compute? What's your cooling strategy? Are your GPUs being fed? Is IO getting storage IO getting hitting a bottleneck? How do you manage tiered storage, object storage, parallel FS? There are so many things in storage itself to consider and monitor. And then there's network. Do you have SLOs, SLAs defined on the network layer? There are multiple network service providers. How do you do a optimized backhaul to the edge, to the cloud? How do you connect? Let's say there's a lot of workloads running inside your DC, and then there is, of course, a lot of players are consuming SaaS as data, right? And then there is a lot of data lying around in the hyperscaler clouds. Is your DC interconnect fast enough to other hyperscalers where data can be moved, right? Is that considered? So I think there are a lot of factors that involve which need standardization, right? How do you deploy all of these workloads across on-prem, across edge, multiple clouds using a unified API? Is there an API simplification involved? And then how do you control, right? How do you control? Is it all FinOps driven? So I think this is what, then there's a tool over sprawl. There's so many tools. There's so many APIs we are consuming. Here on this stage, we heard, we are using OpenAI, we are using Gemini. So how do you get a unified view? I think that's the challenge we have seen most organizations face, and I think there is a space where we can help solve those challenges.
Absolutely. The unified view, almost every technology leader discussed. And now quickly, we have less than 5 minutes remaining, probably in 30 seconds for the hard part, governance. Are there any specific frameworks or guardrails have you had to rethink, especially in hybrid or multi-cloud context?
So, sorry, you want? Yeah. So, basically, when I said hybrid, I said one thing, have your common platforms, because discovering your own AI is a challenge. So now AI-SPM, you have to do a posture management. First, most important thing is discovering your AI workloads. Where is your data in the cloud exactly? After that only you can do the governance around that. So that is the first most important part. Second important part is if you have a common platforms from where you actually do connection to your LLMs or maybe smaller models wherever, you can have a runtime security delivered. We have lot of tools in the market who provide you prompt, top 10 OS attack supports and everything. So I feel that is another important thing. When you actually go for a model, do a red teaming on the model, have a vulnerability assessment, there is a scoring on the models that you can do. And this is something where your governance framework on the model will really be successful if you go with this framework. And ASPM and DSPM is the another part which will come as a data protection in the later part once you have the journey enabled.
Sure. Saurabh ji, your thoughts, sir?
A very valid point. Okay. So basis my experience, okay. So we have a production landscape, okay, and for any of these kinds of a project on AI, okay, we do a prototype, right, or POC. So what is very important to have a governance and a clear-cut identification that, okay, normally the POCs are done in an isolated environment, right? Because the vendor will come with his infrastructure or whatever the case may be. But you have to define it very properly that, okay, once if this POC gets successful, then in order to productionalize it, what are the 3 things or 4 things needs to be taken into consideration, like cyber security aspect, say for example, what the infrastructure will be used, another thing will be red teaming, code reviews. So all those things needs to be factored into, and at the start of the POC contract, these things needs to be exchanged with the partner or the vendor who is doing the POC.
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah, so just to extend the conversation, so from an AI's perspective, I think a couple of things are extremely important. Is that how is the ethical AI, unbiased AI? So I think the data anonymization is one of the critical aspects. And to extend the concept of central governance, I think good thing is that with the maturity of AI, there are a lot of tools which are coming up in the market, which helps in terms of monitoring the central governance piece for this thing. So there's tool related data robot which is coming up. It helps in terms of central governance. I think these are certain things which have come up.
We are very short of time, sir, but I think you wanted to share some short story around it.
To me, actually, the AI is not a project, it's a journey, okay? You should follow the one framework, 10, 20, 70 lanes you can call. 10% the algorithm, 20% technology and the data, 70% people, process, governance and trust. AI is not a plug and play actually. You have to incorporate the custom logic for your organization based on that. Then in the algorithm, you should include the the GDPR compliance or DPDP Act is compliance or not. So during this, the algorithm consideration, it is not the AI is about all this, what is possible in AI, but what is responsible AI actually. Talking to the responsible AI, I have published the few papers in the Western University, talking about the ethical AI, where there is an interesting story. Actually, the Barcelona-based organization, the Clueless Agency, they have the super sexual content, okay, for the marketing, the Aitina Lopez, who earns the $18,000 per month, the average salary of any USA citizen, okay. The question is not the academic, okay. Now question is a dilemma for all of us. Is it the ethical? We should consider the ethical things for any kind of AI implementation, these things basically. That message we should have keep in mind. The AI is doing the automation, but AI is creating the identity of us actually. The question is, are we going to consider this kind of responsible AI or ethical AI? Is there any transparency? Who is the accountable for that? Let's say the self-driving car that got accident, who is responsible? AI algorithm, who wrote this program, or car owner, or the road the authority? That is the question. Actually, that is the message we should follow on that.
Thank you so much. Quickly, Mahesh and Anant, anything that you would like to add?
I think most of the points are covered, and there's no silver bullet, but what I can probably add is we'll have to invest in the good ML ops platform. Of course, the ethical AI by design in itself is extremely important. Then there is a supply chain risk of AI development, and to cover that, it's necessary to probably invest in a good SBOM, maintaining the good development environment, and on top of that, having the zero trust security infrastructure has become more important than ever now.
Sure, sir.
I think it is most important to realize that what suits you, what suits your organization, and then hence what the need is. It is never going to be the case that there is no need. There is going to be need, but then because I think we need to get ourselves out of that zone of that somebody else might be doing it. And that fear of missing out, I don't think that's going to help. It's important to realize that what's required for you, your applications, your organization, and then pursue efforts only in that direction. Only that is going to help.
Thank you so much, sir. I think that the former factor that you talked about, that was there, but I think slowly and steadily things are changing, and probably in the next couple of years, we'll see the change. Thank you very much, panelists, for the insightful and candid discussion. The key takeaway, of course, is AI is complex, but your architecture should not be. To truly simplify AI, enterprises need more than compute power. They need visibility, governance, and cost intelligence built into the stack right from the start. That's the foundation that we need, not just for AI adoption, but for AI maturity. Thank you very much, all the panelists. Can we have a big round of applause?